It's a pleasure to have Casey Estenson, the Senior Vice President and General Manager of CNN.com, join us today. Casey's responsible for all aspects of CNN.com's business endeavors and has led the successful development of their digital businesses and content across both entertainment and news verticals at CNN. Under his leadership, CNN.com has quickly grown and introduced innovative programs including iReport, a slew of social networking integrations, and the network's assortment of mobile and tablet apps. Today, Casey is going to share a live demo with us that will reveal what's next for online news and CNN.com video. After that, the two of us will sit down to discuss the future of CNN, and then we'll take some questions from the audience. Let's give a warm welcome for Casey Estenson.
So I have an army of AV people here to hook us up. We're going to break every rule of presenting in an environment like this and do a live demo today. And I'm very hopeful it works. Hopefully I won't have the Steve Jobs Wi-Fi bandwidth issues that happened to him in San Francisco a couple of WWDCs ago. We're good. It's fine. I'll take it from here. Thank you. But before I get into the live demo and show you a little bit of the future of CNN's video experience, I wanted to kind of walk through where we're at today with CNN. It's our humble opinion that the world needs news with insight now more than ever. It's been an incredible start to this year, obviously. Greg talked a bit about it in his presentation on the Daily today, but we've just seen some incredible things. We've seen social media and news reporting fundamentally change societies and governmental regimes. It's happened in Egypt. It's happening right now in Libya with the ongoing civil war happening there. We're seeing it in Bahrain. The context and depth and experience that CNN brings to bear here with Fareed Zakaria interviewing Muammar Gaddafi, the events that have happened in Japan. It's an incredible time to be in the news business. And obviously moments like this with the royal wedding, maybe a little bit more of a lighthearted thing, and a not so lighthearted thing here with the killing of bin Laden. So what's happened for us this year from a sort of unique visitor's perspective has been pretty interesting vis-a-vis the competition. I wanted to kind of lay out a little bit of where CNN Digital is in the landscape right now, because some of you may not follow it very closely. And when you look at the array of news sites that are out there, CNN Digital, sort of as an average daily unique visitors over the last 3 months, is near 9 million uniques every day. That's better than MSNBC and New York Times. There was a post last week about the state of newspapers and their online presence and how the cable properties seem to have amassed this strength in the digital space over a lot of the newspapers that are out there, and I think it's an interesting trend, especially as you're going to see paywalls come into place and that kind of constraining usage maybe for players like the Times and obviously the Journal. We will always stand for being a free and open outlet, hopefully with the same quality of journalism that you would get from those newspaper sources. We've also seen some pretty interesting traffic spikes over this last year over our general norm. This goes back to January of 2010 to give you an idea of kind of this line at the bottom of our normal page views. The red is our video starts over the last year, and you can see the events on top of this, really starting with Haiti, going into Egypt and Japan. That spike in Japan, what it's telling us is that those video numbers are really telling about the way people are consuming news now. People are still reading for depth and context of experience, but they really want to see the events and what's happening. And that's where I think the strength of players like CNN and the BBC with our global reach and our video resources and our affiliate networks all over the world, we are able to bring in this imagery with footage that we have own and control, and journalists that we have in our bureaus all over the world. And it's resulting in these traffic spikes that you've seen here. Greg talked a little bit about app downloads and how folks aren't necessarily talking about how many downloads they have, but I just wanted to kind of lay that out for us. Here on the bottom is our iPhone distribution in the US. As you can see, that's up and over 2 million iPhone apps in market now for CNN in the US alone. On top of that is our international iPhone app. So we use the same infrastructure domestically, but we have our international bureaus that feed into the CNN International iPhone app, and that takes us up and over 4 million iPhone apps globally now. On top of that, you have the iPad, and you can see with the breaking news events, this is a trend that I've talked a little bit about in some other contexts, but breaking news is now causing a behavior of people to not just check it on the web or turn on their televisions, but to go to the App Store, download the app, and follow the news. It's an interesting new dynamic that's underway that we've seen over these events over the last 6 to 12 months. And as you can see by the numbers, we're going to be up and at the 7 million total app downloads for CNN worldwide, probably within the next month or two. So we're pretty happy with the way that our distribution is going there. Which kind of gets us to the video experience and what I want to spend a lot of time, not a lot, but a little bit of time talking about today. Apps and app usage, when you're nearing a 6-7 million mark, you have a really solid global distribution footprint, and we're seeing incredible video consumption inside of our apps today. I also talked about these news events that people are watching and the videos that are happening on the site. Across the CNN digital network, we push about 100 million video streams every month related to news and information. But we hadn't really touched the video experience for CNN.com in quite a bit of time. It's been maybe 3 or 4 years since we've rebuilt it. And there's some players out there who are doing really nice things. We love Vimeo in particular. The high-def video experience they've got and the video player that they have is fantastic. Hulu, obviously, for its premium content from all of these great major content creators. YouTube, just for the serendipity and the ubiquity of having all kinds of different types of videos coursing in there, and they've been very innovative on the advertising front as well. And then Netflix, which has obviously changed the paradigm for video on demand. Just the ability to be able to watch these movies across all the different devices. So these 4 really became an inspiration point for us at CNN Digital. None of them really play in the news space, but I think all of them do premium video in a fantastic way. And so with that, we wanted to sort of take inspiration from those 4 and rebuild our video experience. And I'm going to give you an idea of what that looks like today. So we're going to relaunch in July. It should be out probably by the 2nd week of July. And when we do, it's going to look like this. We are going with a full sort of cinematic view. When you click into the video experience on the site, you're going to be dropped into a charcoal gray background with full 16:9 video. And I want to show you how that is going to work here. Let me go into Chrome. So now I'm in the live demo, and I want to just talk first about the quality of video.
Final liftoff of
sorry, I'll just mute that back. This is probably the highest quality online streaming video experience for any news organization globally. We are going to be pushing at as close to true high def as possible. And I'm going to tell you why that's important in a second, but we're really taking up the full screen here with this experience for the playback. When you come down here, what we've also done is we're going to add an ability for a user to create a custom channel. So the idea in here is that you could see sort of the top videos of the day. And if you go here, I have this Charlie Sheen video, I just hit the plus button, and it drops it up here into my playlist. And I'm going to tell you why that's important and show it to you in a second. But the idea is that you create your own channel. You can make your own news channel, your own version of CNN. So if you're into politics, entertainment, and global affairs, you can select those videos and put them into your queue. And then if you come in, you play the video here. This is Piers Morgan interviewing Charlie Sheen, who was winning at the time. We've created a squeeze back experience here to kind of bring the show branding to life. And then we'll be able to drop contextual videos in here. And so also very newsworthy. Here's Hefner and his new wife showing off her ring. And then you can squeeze that back, right? So full screen, high def, and then the playlist. And then if you want to drop a video out, you can drop a video out. You want to come in, we have a blog dedicated to food and food culture called Eatocracy, and we've been doing these dinners around America to sort of celebrate local food. And I come in here and I start this video, and this is a video that we shot about the dinner. And the idea here is really to kind of show you both the quality of the video that we have on the website, but also I want to give you an idea of the portability. So I'm going to pause that video here, and then I want to come over to the Elmo. If we can put the Elmo up on the screen. I want you to remember this spot there. Okay, so I'm going to unlock my iPad here, and then go into the app. And then what it's going to do, if it's working, there it is, it recognizes that I paused a video on the website. And so the idea is that when I get to my iPad and I'm connected either 3G or Wi-Fi, it remembers that I left this video when I was on the website. Then I come in and I can just hit resume, and there's the video right there.
The time has come, and
so
we are
this
almost ready to
state-based
reveal
play,
the location of our
sorry,
inaugural
turn this down.
CNN.
The state-based play is really a powerful experience, and again, something that's just brand new to news. You've seen Netflix do this, and I think it's going to be a really powerful thing, especially for longer form video as we get into that. And you can see the same quality. This is part of why we're pushing at this higher bit rate, is because we want the quality to be at the highest level possible by device. So the other thing in here is I could squeeze this back, and the same squeeze back is here. And you'll see the trending videos that are next to that. And then the other thing is that if I come into here, I click on your channel, and there's my queue. So those videos that I've set up on the website and that channel that I've created carries to my iPad. Will also carry into my iPhone, and it'll carry into my Android device. And then beyond that, we didn't have the apparatus to show it today. What's really powerful about this is if you have an IP-connected television, that playlist will go right into your living room. So the idea is that we have the ability to, I guess, create a whole new version of CNN. And when you get home, you turn on your TV, and that TV is connected to the internet, and your playlist is there. So imagine where this is going to be able to take us over time is not just a personalization of the news experience from a video perspective, but also the ability for us to be able to stack in videos based on your personal interests and desires. If I said, like I said before, if I'm into entertainment and I'm into US politics and global affairs, you can imagine us being able to pre-program channels. And as news breaks and we create more videos, they stack in, so when you wake up in the morning, you have sort of a personalized CNN waiting for you in your living room. You pause it on your TV, you take your iPad and you get on the train. That playlist is there with you. You come into work, you go into the video experience on CNN.com. This is absolutely at the cutting edge of what any video organization is doing, I think, let alone a news organization, and we're really proud of it. So this all comes to market in July, and we think it's going to be pretty great. I hope you guys will like it too. So this scrolls through to show you the rest of the video experience. So anyway, in closing, and then I think Adam's going to come up and we're going to talk a little bit about this. The idea is really not just news video. but the world's best video, hopefully contained in one of the world's best video experiences, totally personalized and tailored for you, and coming out in July. So I want to thank you very much.
So my first question, I'm going to actually put you on the spot a little bit. This came from, I think, someone in the room. I asked my Twitter followers what they wanted to know. And Michael Burke asks, is Twitter a friend or foe of CNN? Which I think is a question a lot of people have been asking in the wake of the Osama bin Laden news, breaking on Twitter 30, 40 minutes before CNN reported it on air.
I have no doubt that they're a friend. I think that people want to know what's going on as quickly as possible. It's our responsibility as a news organization to embrace every distribution outlet possible and to get our message to consumers as quickly as we can. We have over 10 million Twitter followers for CNN globally. I consider that to be a pretty good number and a pretty good way to get people aware of what's going on. Oddly enough, Pete Cashmore and I were on a panel like a year ago where he said, not me, that he heard that Michael Jackson died on Twitter, but he also heard that Justin Bieber died on Twitter. So, and I think that there's sort of a trust and reliability factor that comes into play that will only improve over time, frankly, I think, inside of social media. But having single source news like CNN, when you turn it on and you see it, whether it's on the web or on TV, there's a trust and reliability factor that comes into that. And I think social media is a natural complement to it.
Mm-hmm. So kind of in the broader scheme of things, it's been a spectacular year from news, from what's going on in the Middle East to Osama bin Laden to the earthquakes in Japan. Yep. You kind of showed some stats about how quickly you guys are growing in digital on mobile platforms. What have you guys learned from a digital perspective about consumption habits, how people are using your apps as it relates to some of these big events?
Speed and refreshing are critical in the mobile environment. Greg said that it's really hard, and that is absolutely true. We've built an entire mobile organization from scratch over the last 2 years. We have almost 20 people doing mobile globally now. Our editorial teams are creating for all of these different platforms. Obviously, we have a distribution reach that goes outside of the US, so we've got all kinds of complications for us. It's not just an iOS and Android world, it's a Symbian world, and it's what's Nokia going to do with Microsoft world. And getting that out is complicated. But the fact of the matter is that if you're going to be competitive, you have to be in every place on every platform with the best possible experience. One of the things that I've really focused heavily on is to create a user experience that feels native to the device in which you're on. And so our iPhone app feels like it's built for an iPhone, because it is. Our iPad app is not a reproduction of what we do on the web or what we do on the phone. It is totally unique, and it's meant to engage people in the way that they use iPads. So our sort of creative design teams have had to really expand the way they think about it as well, and then just the sheer number of people it takes to do it all. Mm-hmm. But it's here to stay, and I think it's actually just going to add and grow to the business over time.
Now, another big piece of your reporting in the last year or so has iReports played a big role in it. And I think why is iReports so important to CNN, and what's kind of the strategy there? Why use that versus why build that? What was the kind of the thinking behind it versus using what's already going on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube?
Well, we have over 700,000 iReporters globally. We've had an iReport submitted from every single country on Earth now. And what that does is it takes your traditional news gathering footprint and grows it exponentially. And when we set up iReport in 2006, it was, I don't know if it was controversial, but it was definitely not something that mainstream capital J journalists were thrilled about. But it has proven to be one of the most empowering things for CNN, and I think for consumers of news worldwide. And so the idea behind it is when you look at something like Japan, it took us almost 36 hours to get Anderson and Sanjay, and we ended up putting 40 people into Japan. It just takes a time to get people from New York or Atlanta on the ground. We had hundreds of iReports already submitted in those first 36 hours, and so that complemented our affiliate relationship with NHK and TV Asahi. But having people who were there, who were grabbing footage and sending it to us, it increases speed, and I think it increases your reach.
Mm-hmm. Now, getting back to the video experience that you showed on stage, this is obviously something that's a lot different from CNN TV. It's people creating a custom playlist of their news.
Right.
What does this mean in terms of CNN from a content perspective? Are we still going to see, the Anderson Cooper shows, the Wolf Blitzer shows? How does this shift your guys' content thinking?
You're absolutely still going to see those shows because those shows are built for TV. And the essence of what you create when you create a television program is really different than what you create when you create something for the web. And this has been talked about a lot. I'm not saying anything novel here, but a web experience is a personal one. Our peak time is between noon and 2 during the day, so the sort of web prime for video. Somebody's actively choosing to click and watch that. They're not just seeing what's coming up and coming next. And so for me, when it comes to web video, and really, frankly, for everything that we produce in digital, it needs to be much more expansive than the run of stories that probably a purely television-driven news organization is going to have. We need to speak to people's passions and interests as well. And I think the best newspapers in the world do that, right? New York Times does that really well. I read them as much for, I say I like the New York Times for the A section. I love the New York Times for arts, culture, travel, leisure, et cetera.
And what does the investment in reporting those types of stories look like at CNN? Stuff that's really purposed just for the web. How many people are kind of working on that? What's the strategy?
We have, my digital organization has over 250 people globally. That complements about 1,000 people who do core news gathering for all of CNN's platforms. Whenever a piece of news comes in, we have a wire service which writes a lot of the sort of core news pieces. We don't use any AP. We do license some photos from Getty, and we've got a deal with Reuters that helps us cover part of the world that is hard for us to get to sometimes. But by and large, like 99% of what CNN creates is CNN content. And that's really different than a lot of other news organizations. And it's really important in a digital space where you have to, frankly, ownership of that core content allows you the ability to take it across all these different platforms. You don't have to worry about licensing and rights issues and a lot of stuff that get tangled up in digital distribution. But to answer your question more directly, when it comes to core news gathering, every single piece of content that comes in, whether it's a photo, a written article, a piece of video, is made available to every platform at the same time. And we don't ever fight over who's going to get it first or where's it going to go or whatever. If Anderson does an exclusive interview, we'll probably take the clips and pieces if it's shot in advance, and we'll get it onto the web. And then obviously the full-length video, that interview will be on his show at night.
Now, something else we're going to talk about, and then I'm going to open it up to some audience questions, is you guys are working on something called TV Everywhere, which essentially, if you're an existing CNN subscriber, you can access live CNN on all these different devices. Right. What does the business model look like there? Is there eventually going to be a day when we can get that a la carte? And do you think kind of this cord cutting trend that a lot of people are talking about is real?
I think cord cutting is too broad of a term. People are not cutting cords. The cord that is coming into the home is delivering television. For 90% of people, is delivering television and the internet. So what we want to do is have the ability to get content to people in both ways. And so TV Everywhere is just a very simple concept of I subscribe through Comcast to get all these channels, and I go in with my Comcast ID, and I say I'm a Comcast customer, and now I can watch what I see on CNN television on the web or on my mobile device or whatever. So the idea behind that is to protect that model, right? One, and two, to try to give consumers, the biggest gap that we have is one of the things we can't show Anderson's show on the web because it's not licensed and paid for like it is through the cable operator. So we're trying to give the TV everywhere experience, and HBO Go is a great example of sort of authentication. I'm an HBO subscriber. I can download the HBO Go app, and I can watch all the HBO content on this app. Same thing will exist for TV everywhere for CNN, and that whole video infrastructure that I showed you, if you choose to log in, you'll be able to watch all of CNN television inside of it as well.
Gotcha. Questions from the audience? One back there. Thought I saw a hand.
Just speak from the back.
Yeah, go ahead.
Innovation Center for US Dairy. Interested in what technology you're going to use to power your mobile application? Is it HTML5?
We are heavy proponents and early adopters of HTML5. We had one of the very first HTML. Our core website is completely built in HTML5 in addition to the standard markup language. We did that to make it viewable on the iPad when it came out. HTML5 is it's a markup language that we've adopted and we're fully embracing of, and I think it will continue to probably be at a core of what we do for mobile web over time. There's still a lot of things that have to be figured out with that standard, but mobile web is huge and sort of not talked about a lot in an app world, but I do believe that HTML5 will be a key component of its growth.
Other questions? One in the middle there? Nope. I can't, right there.
I'm curious about the future of monetization. We saw that all of these other different sites have had to go to a subscription model. And so do you see that ultimately you can sustain that advertising only, or will this become a freemium model?
Well, our advertising business is really robust. I think in order to have an exclusively ad-supported business, you have to have scale. And so a lot of the other, it's sort of a choice of, okay, when Greg talks about the daily, that's going to be constrained scale from the beginning, so they're going to have to work a dual revenue stream right off the bat. We have been fortunate, I guess lucky, that we've got very sizable distribution already, and we have a lot of usage, and so we can do a combination of big sponsor deals and targeted advertising opportunities. We can also sell across the whole Turner network of properties, so that gives us even more scale, so we can package a sports, news, entertainment play. And then, of course, we've got the giant of television behind us, so we can package ad sales between the integrated sponsorships on television that go through the web. So that's going to probably protect us for a while, right? I think over the long horizon, every third-party distribution relationship that has existed in other formats and mediums has come under pressure and under siege, and I definitely avoided Adam's question about a la carte, but if that world comes, then I think we'll have to adjust at that time.
Thanks. We are out of time. Casey, thank you so much.
Thank you.